So, you've got to start there, right? And then you build out from there in sort of really sort of getting a much richer discussion on how we build high expectations, the impact of teacher effects on student behaviour. And then, of course, into the area which I keep on batting about in terms of, then developing a much broader repertoire of teaching strategies amongst our staff. And you'll recall that I've made two big points on this. When we want to differentiate through pedagogy, we really need our teachers to have a much broader repertoire of teaching strategies for their toolbox. So, we saw again in the video this morning that she was talking about cooperative group work. Well, do our staff really understand the principles underpinning cooperative group work, the range of cooperative group work approaches we can have? Is that technical knowledge there? Are we diagnosing the learning needs of the kids and then applying the right type of cooperative group approach, right? So as we progress and grow as a school, so we broaden and deepen our debate about pedagogy, it seems to me. And then the other thing about this slide here, which I batted on about for ages with you before, is that these are not just good teaching strategies, they're good learning strategies as well, all right? So if you teach in order to help a kid memorize some information using mnemonics, linked words, keywords, and you're explicit about what you're doing, then you're giving the kid a learning skill as well, because they can then construct their own mnemonic, link word, and keyword, right? Which then brings me on to the next sort of phase of all of this. Let me get rid of this. Is that then leads us naturally on to developing a much richer vocabulary in the school about what learning actually means, all right? And how do we learn in our school? What's the profile of a good learner in our school? And are we then articulating that in very concrete terms, right? Are we being really explicit about the range of learning skills we want our youngsters to acquire? Are our staff clear about that, as well as the students? We're using really operational language for that. Do we get the kids to think about their success and failure? Do we encourage all our staff to work in the zones of proximal development of their students? Do everyone know the sort of concept of scaffolding, about how we use scaffolding in literacy, or how we use scaffolding in mathematics, and how the scaffolding approaches are independent of curricular content, right? So you see where I'm trying to take you on all of this. On our journeys of transformation, we start with the very basic rudimentary building blocks, all right? How we manage the class, how we control seating. Once that's in place, we can then begin to build out from that, okay? And, for me, we can approach this in a number of different ways. We can, ask myself or John Munro's of the world to come in and give us lectures on all of this, or we can actually use the knowledge that someone like myself or John can bring to this group, but we develop our own practice, from where we are. It may be that we want, there may be, and I think this is where we need to be moving the project down into smaller groups. Okay, there may be that there are 3, 4, 5, 6 schools who really want to focus on cooperative group work, all right? Let's send a couple of your people along and let them come to me for, a couple of hours, right, here. We'll do a masterclass on that. They can then go back in, and work with other colleagues, all right? And I can come in occasionally and give a bit of feedback on that. But it's that notion of co-construction, I think, we should be getting into, all right? And I think, part of the offer, in a sense, to you this afternoon is, is this an area where you think we want to put some energy? And if so, give us some feedback on that. Give us some sort of guidance on that, and we'll come back with some proposals and some suggestions for you. Does that make sense to you? Yeah? Yeah? I think that's the next step, all right? And there are going to be some of you who are, who could say, look, we do this really well, all right? So let's come in and video that, and let's just get a little expert group on that and spread it out. Yeah? So I don't think I need to say any more about that. I'll just bring that on the table. But I think if we're going to really continue to make a difference, that's the type of thing we need to be doing, Lena. Yeah? Okay? Let me then just take you through. I'm going to show you just a couple more slides. And we'll try and be a little bit more challenging on the other side of this.